Hi everyone, welcome to another Facebook Live here in our house at PlantPure. Thank you for joining us. Today we're making something that I really love. I just started making this recipe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I think we've made it about 6 times already because it's that good. I did not create this recipe. I can't take credit for it. There's a lot of them on the web, but I actually got this recipe from a friend who lives in the Raleigh area, and she has a huge YouTube channel. Her name is Jill Dalton, and her YouTube channel is called The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show. She also has a website with great recipes, and that's the fun part about the internet. There's so many resources out there to be plant-based, but I wanted to share this recipe because I happened on it, and I could not believe that 2 ingredients can make something so delicious. I put my spin on it, and you can see I actually put it in the link to this Facebook page. So it's up and ready to go. So let's get started. It starts with quinoa, and the best part is gluten-free. There's a lot of different quinoas that you can pick. I'm using the organic sprouted version today, and these you don't need to wash. They've been pre-washed. But you can use red quinoa, you can use just plain white quinoa, mix it up, but it calls for a cup. I really strongly recommend you that if you don't buy it pre-washed, that you actually rinse it a lot. When I first started eating quinoa, I didn't like it, and it had a funny sort of bitter taste, and I was told by other chefs, you need to rinse it more than once, maybe rinse it 2 or 3 times, because it has something called saponins on it. And the saponins are actually natural. They're phytochemicals that are on the seed, but it can make it bitter, and it's the seeds, it's a plant's way of protecting itself against critters. So anyways, that's it for the quinoa. So we're gonna put that in the blender. Remember, rinse it. This is pre-rinsed, so I'm good. And then I'm gonna add 1.5 cups of water. You can add a little less, but don't add more because you don't want it to be too wet. So that's it. That's the recipe. Can you believe it? That's it. So Jill, in her recipe, she put a teaspoon of onion powder in hers. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I couldn't stop there. So I put some fresh garlic. You can put garlic powder in there if you want. So we'll put that in there. And then I added some nutritional yeast flakes, a couple of tablespoons. And you know, you could do whatever you want with this. That's pretty much it. If you want to put a little bit of sea salt in there, I'm not going to because I'm going to put salt on the top a little bit. So you can put spinach in there. So if you saw the picture in the link, you saw that it was pink and it was green and it was orange, because on one batch I added 1 cup of spinach. In another batch I added 1 cup of beets, cooked beets, and it just made these really colorful flatbreads. So get creative and kind of adjust them to your preferences. I'm going to turn this on. You can use any kind of blender with this, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but I'm going to turn it on for about 20 seconds, so bear with me. You don't have to have a high-powered blender. I just put it in here so that I wouldn't be blending for 2 minutes, but I've used a bullet. Some people even use a food processor, and the neat thing about this is it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth. If it's got little pieces of quinoa in it, that actually makes it a little more, has more texture, a little more rustic. I kind of like it, so it really just depends. And it's gonna have the consistency kind of a thinner than a pancake batter. It just depends on your pancake batter. If you want it thicker, you know, just add a little less water. But what I would recommend is not getting it too thick because it won't cook all the way through, and you want this to cook through really well. So then you go over and you take a cookie sheet, or you can take a pizza crust, pizza pan, and line it with parchment paper like that, or you can use a silicone mat. But you need to use the parchment paper because if you don't, it will stick to the pan, and you don't want to have to use oil. So we'll put this on here just like that. And I'm going to make a sort of a round pizza with it. And it's going to look, when you first do it, it's going to look really runny, and you're going to think, oh, that's a mess. It really isn't. Just spread it into a circle. You can make it into a square. I'm not going to get too picky. I already made a batch this morning for you to look at. So that's pretty much it. And then the cool thing is I went to Trader Joe's and they have something called dukkha, which is a mixture of spices. And I'll put my glasses on here. I'll read it to you what's in it. It has almonds, sesame seeds, fennel seeds, coriander, anise seeds, and sea salt. So that's the last ingredient. So the last one that I made this morning, I actually used everything bagel. This is amazing. So I'm going to put everything bagel on half because I just had the film guy nod his head for this one. So, but we have a whole nother one with this. So we'll put a little bit on one side. And you can make your own everything bagel seasoning because here's what it has in it. It has sesame seeds, sea salt, garlic, minced onion, black sesame seeds, poppy seeds. So you could make it and leave the salt out if you're on a salt-free diet. And then the dukkha, I'm going to put on the other half because that's what I like. I just learned yesterday when I was at Trader Joe's that they're not going to carry this anymore. It's kind of a Middle Eastern kind of flavor. Nelson didn't care for it because it had a licorice kind of flavor to it, I think from the fennel seeds and the anise, but I think it's kind of fun. And then you're going to stick it in the oven and make sure your oven is fully preheated at 400 degrees. I wouldn't go a whole lot hotter than that. You could probably go a little bit cooler, but you want it to be around 400 degrees. And make sure it's fully preheated because if you put it in here, it won't cook evenly. So just stick this in the pan. And then here, it looks like somebody got into this morning, like a rat. Who's that rat food? So I didn't quite peel it all the way off, but you can see, watch. See how it comes right off? Some people flip their flatbread. I don't think you need to. I think it's perfect. And this makes the best pizza crust. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it into sort of like triangles. And Oliver, there you go. He always gets something. And then I'm going to put some guacamole on this that I made. This is going to be our lunch today. And it really does taste like a bagel. I'm going to put some sprouts on it, some tomatoes underneath the sprouts. And that is lunch. Super easy, so you can see how easy that is. I'm going to go someplace that I don't usually go to, and the reason I'm going to do it is because we were on the Holistic Holiday at Sea, and I realized I talked to a lot of people, and I realized that they didn't know that PlantPure has food. So we do have food. These are our food lines, and they are carried in the Publix grocery stores, and we're in over 1,000 Publix stores, and we're about to be in a couple more supermarket chains as well. So if you can get these online, I think we have 15 different entrees. If you go to Publix, there's 5 different entrees, and they're just really handy to have on hand. They're 12 ounces in Publix. They're 16 ounces if you order them on the website. We also have t-shirts, so I wore my PlantPure t-shirt. I'm not really good at marketing, but we have some really cool things that I'm very excited about. We're building a dry line right now, just a lot of things. And if you want to know what's going on, Nelson writes newsletters about every other week, so you can go to the PlantPureNation.com website, sign up for the newsletters, and get all of that. If you like these videos, the cooking videos, we are also in YouTube as well, so you can go in and see what Nelson's doing for videos. You can see what I'm cooking. It's just a lot of fun. So thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you back here in a couple of weeks. Have a great weekend.